Hey everyone, James here again. Spotify just released a new update that is going to radically change music podcasts. You could say that we've entered Podcast 2.0, and it's being led by the most innovative platform in music streaming today, so let me tell you all about it. Now, one problem that's going to be familiar to podcasters and people that use YouTube alike are copyrights. Up until this point, if you wanted to use a song on your podcast or in a YouTube video, for example, you're going to get hit with a copyright warning. That means that you can't make any money off the show. Any money that you do make goes to the copyright owner, or your video just gets taken down altogether. And the same thing happens in podcasting. Either you have to get explicit permission to use that song in your show and then submit that to whoever flagged your content, or your content disappears forever. It's really frustrating because you want to have a show about music. People love to talk about music. People love to hear from musicians. But up until recently, very recently, you haven't been able to use their music in your show without going through several very ridiculous hoops. But Spotify has found a solution, and it's one that's going to help them further their presence in podcasting while leaving all their competitors in the dust. Not too long ago, Spotify purchased Anchor.fm, and Anchor is a free podcasting hosting service where anyone can start a podcast, upload it, and have it distributed to all the major podcast networks like Apple, Google, Stitcher, so on and so forth. Of course, Spotify as well. Well, last week, Spotify and Anchor unveiled a brand new tool that allows anyone in the world where this tool is available to create a podcast that uses full music. Any song on Spotify can now be added to a podcast. But of course, as with anything in life, there is one catch. If you use music in your show that is uploaded through Anchor, which it has to be done, then that show is only available on Spotify. Did you get all that? Let's run it down one more time. Anyone can create a free podcast using Anchor.fm and use any song in the Spotify catalog, but the song and the podcast will only live on Spotify. So your show won't be available on Apple or Google or Stitcher or any of the other podcasting platforms. It will be exclusive to Spotify. And there are a million ways that this idea can be used. Spotify already unveiled 7 original shows, and they'll probably have more in the near future, and they're all types of shows. One of them uses famous songs that have stories about murder to connect them to the actual real-life crimes. Ali Hagendorf, famous head of rock for Spotify, has her own radio show type event where she interviews an artist and plays the latest and greatest rock music, and there are other programs as well. But now anyone with a good idea for how to promote music, including musicians such as yourself, can do so on Spotify using the songs on the service. This has never been done before. It is setting a standard for the future of podcasting, especially where people like Apple are concerned, and Amazon for that matter, and it's going to radically change how we listen and consume content. But if you're wondering just what types of shows we might see as a result of this, you're in luck, because I have a few suggestions. First and foremost, if you're a musician, why not create a podcast where you walk listeners through your songs? Everyone loves a good behind the song story, a behind the album story. This is your chance to do just that. Every time you release a single, you could release a podcast episode where you play that song, a song that you will get paid for people listening to, along with a behind the scenes look at how that song came to life. Give us your own version of Song Exploder. Give us your own how this got made. Tell us everything about each song that you've released. And if you have catalog hits, if you're an artist that already has a few albums under your belt, why not start at the very beginning and retrace your roots? Tell us how we got here. If that doesn't interest you, might I give you a second idea? And that would be sharing your inspirations with other people. Obviously, you didn't just come out of nowhere in the world of music. You didn't just invent sound yourself and think that you stumbled onto it until you released songs. Somebody influenced you, and your fans would probably love to know who that is. So why not put together a weekly show where you recount the songs and albums and musicians who shaped the person that you are today? Not only will people get to have a better understanding of who you are, but they might fall in love with your favorite artist as well, which will again help re-emphasize that bond that you share with them through your music. And if neither of those work for you, a third idea, one that I really hope to see, is to build a community of fellow musicians using this tool. Why not have a weekly or monthly or bi-weekly or whatever you call it show where all you do is play music from yourself and your friends in the music industry who are all trying to rise up together. Maybe you have them on as guests from time to time. Maybe you interview somebody about their new song. Whatever you want to do. Just build that community right there. So I could just get in my car and listen to you and another band that you believe in, talk about your new songs, and then you play those songs for me. And I can then, thanks to how Spotify has thought this whole thing out, I can click through from the podcast to your artist page or to the artist page of the musician that you're playing. I'll be able to directly follow them from the app while listening to the podcast, and the community will grow. And that's what makes this whole thing so special. Not only are people able to use music in podcasts, which has never really happened before, but artists will get paid for the use of their songs in that podcast. And when you discover somebody new, you'll be able to go to their page, follow them, and listen to more music. Everyone wins in this scenario, especially Spotify. Because right now, Spotify is in this arms race with every single podcast platform trying to do something unique. And when they brought on Joe Rogan earlier this year, that gave them a huge boost of press and obviously brought in a lot of new signups. But how does Spotify continue to set themselves apart? The solution seems to be right here in music. Everyone wins in this scenario. People can create free content, which bolsters the community of Spotify and creates more stuff for people to explore on the platform. People are getting paid from these podcasts, both the artists whose music is featured, but also the people who create the shows, because Anchor.fm makes it really easy to make money from your podcast. And this isn't an ad from them, but to be honest, I use it and it's fantastic. It's incredibly simple, and the money that they pay you is incredibly fair. And lastly, artist discovery just goes up, and with more people listening to more music, Spotify wins. Everybody wins. So right now, if you haven't done so already, this is the time to start a podcast. If you're a musician wondering what you should do, start telling your story. Don't wait on another musician to do it, or a blog, or a zine, or some writer, or anyone else to care. Just start telling us your story in your words. And if you don't like that, then start building your community, or find a completely original idea. Maybe you just want us to understand why you love the Allman Brothers, and you're going to walk through their entire catalog, one song at a time, with each song being an episode. Whatever you want to do, you can do it now, thanks to Spotify. So please get on there and create content. And when you do, share a link in the comments below, because I'll be listening. And speaking of the comments, if you could do so, please subscribe to this channel. MusicBiz exists to help you understand the music industry, how it's evolving, and how you can continue to succeed in it. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and give us a click. And if you have, well, then I'm going to leave you with a little request. It's a small one. It's not much. It's not a lot. You don't have to spend any money or anything, but you do have to take a little bit of time for yourself, because what I'm going to ask you is this: take care of yourself, because you deserve it.